Game. I'm Chris.
I'm Drew.
Now, listen, Ben Simmons, big bro, big bro. You can't pass up that layup, dog. I just, I that play was just, it was emblematic of how the entire series went for Philly, where it was just like they would just seem to pass up and miss opportunity after opportunity to
Yeah.
just, make a statement or close them out. And for real, shout out to Atlanta though, because honestly, Atlanta, like this was their series to lose for me personally after they won game one. But Philly was still Philly. But now everybody's having this discourse of whether it's Doc Rivers or Ben Simmons' fault. And honestly, I will say that it's equally their fault. Like I'm not gonna hold Ben Simmons and say that because Ben Simmons should have been coached better when it comes to just being willing to shoot the ball and being more aggressive, and he just
Yeah.
wasn't. So that's like a main issue that I see. But then Doc Rivers, again, it's the collapse. It's every single time. Like if they had won Game 5 when you're up 26, then you're headed back to Atlanta after blowing them out. You're probably gonna win that game.
Right.
And again, Game 6 was maddening. You could have lost that either way, but y'all still won that, came back to Philly, and should have won that. And if Trey Young has shoots 5 to 23, and
You got
their best
yeah.
player is Kevin Herter, you should not lose that game. So
No.
it is what it is. Though.
Yeah. I agree. I blame both. Now Ben Simmons, I kind of feel bad because I understand where he's coming from. I feel like it's just all mental for him. Like I've seen multiple videos of him in the off season shooting threes like it's none of his business. And pre-game shooting threes like it's not like just nothing. But in the game, he don't shoot threes, and it's like, okay, well, at least do a midi. Don't do the mid range. It's like you have
It's
a wide open
nothing.
layup. Instead of the wide open layup.
But just
I don't know. I
shooting
just
nothing. Like that's the thing. Like we say that Giannis is a terrible. We all know that Giannis isn't like the world's greatest shooter, but at least he
yeah,
tries. Like
yeah.
that man will try his hardest.
And, and versus Brooklyn, when he was trying, he did succeed
They
a couple
won.
times.
They
He had a
literally
clutch three. He had a great free throw percentage, at least towards
end of
the
that
second
game.
half. You know, and he tries. And when he tries, he succeeds, and that's why they won. Um, Ben Simmons, on the other hand, can do this stuff, but he just doesn't try.
Mm.
It's a confidence thing. It's unfortunate to see that. Also, I think that yeah, it is Doc Rivers partially his responsibility to find a way to make Ben Simmons a good player, not just on a fast break. Like
True.
Ben Simmons on a fast break is crazy.
He's insane. And his ability, and I'm not denying his ability to defend Trey Young because that was literally what he did pretty well during the series until the last three games. And even in this game, like him and Thibault were doing like a pretty damn good job on him. But just his ability to create open looks is again second to none. And everybody was hyping him up, saying that if he gets to the jump shot, he's gonna be LeBron. But now I'm like, well,
Nah, I don't
that was a little too much. Now
know.
that was a little too much expectation there. And I feel bad for Joel Embiid, bro, because like he at least this entire postseason was just hooping and like again was the MVP runner up. And honestly, I want to see him with a good point guard at this point. Like I don't know who you trade him for. Some people want the like trade between Portland and him, and I'm like, I don't see how Ben Simmons like fits with Portland because it helps Portland defensively, but then again, like, he
Portland is
can't
definitely a
shoot.
freak. Yeah,
Like that's just another thing that you need to worry about because having a point guard that can't shoot, that just can't that not can't shoot but isn't willing to shoot in today's
right.
NBA, regardless of how dynamic he is in every other way, you still need a point guard who can shoot. Because Trey Young, regardless of how bad he shot last night, he hit them when they counted and he was still willing to take.
Right.
Uh,
You have to be willing to take the shots, bro. At this in this league, you have to. Maybe back in the day, you could win a game off of rebounds and stuff like that. And
nah,
I heard an analyst say that you can afford to have a defensive liability on your team and still win rings. But to have an offensive liability in the NBA is so
today's
different.
NBA, you can't do it.
You cannot have it's a fast paced game of scoring. It's not like the NFL where you stop and have breaks it's a game of inches. Like, no, you have to score to win. Period. And
Also, and speaking about the Bucks game seven, hey, KD, you were just he was one like 2 inches away from hitting one of the greatest shots we've ever seen, and it's
it
just
was,
KD. Shout out to you. You're officially the best player in the NBA now. I will give you your crown. I'll give you your flowers. And I wanted to talk about this. Like everybody wants to say that, oh, LeBron's gonna pass the torch to KD. I'm like,
KD
eh,
been
it's been KD and Braun for at least ever since like the let KD wins the MVP in OKC and then literally the Golden State run because
yeah,
you knew it was going to be KD and Braun. You know how unlikely it was for LeBron to win, but you knew that KD every single time on those teams, regardless of how good Golden State is. And yes, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. Klay Thompson's top 5 all time shooter. Yes, we get that. But KD was the best player on those teams. That has to be said for something. It has to be
yeah,
said for something, and it being his league now. And the fact that after an Achilles, he has 2 performances where he nearly saves his team's season, but he literally can't just due to injuries to like his 2 best players. It's just it is what it is. But I think he officially is the best player in basketball right now. It's just he just got cooked by a team who just played really well in Game Seven.
But yeah, I'm excited for Brooklyn in this near future. Hopefully, they can keep that same team for next year. If they do, and they're healthy, that's an easy run. That's an easy run to the championship, no
Sure.
doubt, no doubt. But dang, like, yeah, I think that I like how people are giving KD his props finally. That they realize that he was a big toe away, literally, like one fucking toe away from having like one of the craziest clutch shots we ever see. And just unfortunate, dog. But I'm still proud of what Brooklyn has done. I
Yeah.
didn't think that this was gonna work, but James Harden changing his game to better suit the offense. Um, just KD and Kyrie not being too egotistical and fighting another, just an overall great team that seemed like they had great chemistry is a blessing to see it happen. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know how to preview this Hawks Bucks thing because I don't know how
I,
they match up. Honestly, like this is my point with Atlanta, where I just throw my hands and be like, "Hey, let's just see what happens," because you don't know. Because I'm like, okay, Drew Holiday could maybe strap Trey Young, maybe,
maybe.
but who's stopping Giannis? And then Chris Middleton's gonna have games where he goes off. But I don't know if Chris Middleton's gonna have his annual like shrink in the big moment thing that always seems to happen with the Bucks. So honestly, it's like, I don't know. With
Yeah,
that lid, I'm like, hey, bro, y'all got this far. Let's just see how far y'all can keep going.
yeah, it reminds me of two teams. It reminds me of the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2015, I think, when they made that run all the way to the AFC Championship versus the Patriots. They should have won, but the refs cheated.
Yeah,
Mm,
again, the holding call and the whole thing with Miles Jack.
yeah.
Miles Jack just,
And also, obviously, the Tennessee Titans. Back when Derrick Henry was stiff arming Earl Thomas and stuff
yeah,
like that. And it just reminds me of those teams where it's like, who are these teams? Why are they even playoffs for real? Like they can make a run, but nobody was really thinking that, and they're just going crazy right now. So we're gonna see. I can't rule Atlanta out based on how they've been playing, but also you have the Milwaukee Bucks
who
who are
just
just
who again just beat the best player in the league. Just it's 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 a very close matchup to call. I want Suns Hawks again, but I still think Milwaukee because of like I don't know who's gonna be able to guard Giannis consistently, and Giannis is on a run. And he's in that mode. Like it is what it is, but I'm just ready to see it. But Suns Clippers. Yo, Paul George was having another good game again with Devin Booker for his
he
first
good.
triple double. He had 40, 13, and 11. And at this point, I would just sit back and be like, yo, can we? I want the media to kind of stop this whole thing with Chris Paul being like the main thing, because we get the impact that Chris Paul has had on that team, and I am not denying that. But that kid right there is playing magical. Like it is insane to see the fact that he was going toe to toe with a more experienced Clippers team. And I get the Clippers were coming off of Game 7, and like they're Game 6. and they were like exhausted, and they had come back, and it was like a couple days ago. I get that. I get all of that. However, um, the fact that he was going bucket for bucket with Paul George, that was like beautiful to watch. And then Devin Booker just closes it out. His ability to facilitate was just amazing. All the assists he had and everything he did. Again, Devin Booker needs to have more media hype than he does because it's always going to be like, oh, Chris Paul, but Chris Paul's still leading from he wasn't on the court. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I I think CP3's been one of the best players in the playoffs other than Kawhi. However, Devin Booker is that dude. And I think I want him to give his credit. And I was just thinking about like my top five young players now. It's Luka and Jason Tatum are 1A and 1B, then Devin, then Donovan Mitchell, then Trey. And that's
after to me, after seeing D Book just keep dropping 40 on everybody,
D-Book gotta be there.
yeah, for me, he's one because ain't no way. I mean, he's been scoring like crazy for the longest. Nobody's really been talking about it because the Phoenix Suns,
Yeah.
now that they're in the playoffs and you have no other choice but to see it, this man has been dropping 30 and 40 each and every series that he's in multiple times.
Yeah.
And it's just, he keeps doing it. I don't know, man. I think that D Book might end up being one of the best players of this next. I mean, he already is one of the best players of this next generation.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to start. People trying to jump on the John Morant and Zion Williamson as like the next goats. You got D Book right here.
It was too soon for. And I honestly want to talk about Zion hype because of it. I hope he makes the playoffs next year because again, like Trey Young has now set the expectations incredibly high for Trey Young and John Morant, two young players who have set expectations incredibly high for all future players because like in 3 years, Ja did it in 2, Trey did it. Well, Ja almost did it his rookie year with the whole like playing game, and now he actually got a team in the playoffs, won a playing game, won the playoff game, but then the Jazz, were the Jazz, and they actually played really well. But then after that, Trey Young has literally brought his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, and we thought they were still going to be in a rebuild. So, in all the Zion hype that we're lost in, I get it. I want him. I really want him to be that next GOAT. But again, it's like coaching, that system, and y'all need to get a couple more shooters, and y'all will be fine. But it's just the hype's died down for me for Zion. Like I've come to earth and been like, dang, it really is all about coaching and how good your team is. And it's less about players now.
I also think it's about guards as well. And it's weird because usually the people that win MVP are forwards, like we've seen with Giannis recently. We've seen centers, Nikola Jokic. But the real MVPs to me are always going to be the guards. Like, if you don't have a good guard, you're not going to the playoffs. I don't care how great your big man is or your big men are. You're not going anywhere without a good guard. And we see that with the 76ers. We see that with we just kind of seeing that now. It's not like back in the day where you have a Shaq or Dwight Howard and go insane. No.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Zion isn't quite there yet, hasn't made the playoffs yet. Not saying that New Orleans Pelicans don't have a good guard or anything, but they're not a D-Book. They're not a John Morant or anything like that.
They're not Trey Young. They're not like, and again, Lonzo's shown his flashes of being able to do that, but again,
he's taking a minute.
Yeah. I really,
I hate that his parents or his family wants him out of New Orleans so fast.
Yeah.
He's literally been there for 2 years, bro.
But again, he's still a rookie. Y'all will be fine. They're not going to trade him yet. He's not a nuisance. He's a good kid. Y'all got him for at least 3 more years. So hopefully y'all make the playoffs and make a run.
Yeah,
but y'all need a good offensive coach because I'm sorry, Stan Van Gundy is still that old-minded. Like, we need to play defense. Nah, bro. Y'all gotta consistently drop at least 110, at least, to be a good team nowadays. Like, this isn't the 84-79 bloodbath that everybody's like, you need to hustle on the defensive end. Like, no, bro. Like, you can have defensive principles, and we need that desperately, but you also have to realize that, like, you need to actually focus on developing offensive players because we saw with the Sixers series, like, you see how like not developing a key cog of your like organization and it didn't work. We saw it with the Sixers. The Hawks, they have a bunch of just young, hungry shooters just around. So does Phoenix, so does Milwaukee, and so does the Clippers, just with veterans who can just flat out shoot and score. And that's what kind of matters to me just with this league. But honestly, I don't know with the Suns Clippers series unless because I don't know if Kawhi's coming back, and we're still like
Yeah, I don't think
we
he's
don't
coming
know.
back.
But Chris Paul's definitely gonna be back eventually, so I still think
Yeah,
the Suns are probably gonna win the series, which is unfortunate because Paul George is in that mode, and I really am happy for him for like conquering everything he's gone through with his mental health in the bubble and all of that. I'm really proud of him for that, but I don't think that they're going to win this series. Um,
no.
yeah,
Go ahead,
pretty
go ahead.
much
What was
it.
you about to say?
It's pretty much it for the sports side. So I want to kind of switch it to the music side. So again, Tyler's dropping, Doja's dropping. Then we also have a new Ski Mask project. Ski Mask has always been one of the most intriguing artists to me just because of his ability to have multiple flows and just have certain pockets that are kind of insane. And yeah, I'm excited for whatever mixtape it is because I haven't had music from him in so long. But yeah,
Yeah, a real long minute since I heard Ski Mask. I'm not. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not the biggest Ski Mask fan, and I don't know how his sound will work in 2021 because it obviously worked in 2017, 2018 when that sound was like the top
yeah,
sound, the SoundCloud era, or the peak of it, or the towards the end of it.
yeah.
And, obviously that worked then, but I don't know how that's gonna be now, and that's what fears me the most. You know, I kind of was just never really a fan of it, but I'm just talking about for like the general public.
Mm.
Are we gonna mess with it? Are we not? We gonna see. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So
But also, I keep seeing like, and speaking of the Atlanta Hawks, I want to ask you this question. So, like, everybody's now trying to come up with the Atlanta Mount Rushmore of anything, and I'm just sitting back and thinking, like,
of anything,
mine,
like
yeah, like I've just been seeing it online, like the Atlanta Mount Rushmore. Mine personally is Outkast, Gucci, um, probably it's in between Jeezy and Ti. I can't really decide, but then definitely Young Thug and
okay,
just for overall influence because Outkast kicked the door down. Gucci's cosign is literally like the main thing that people need in Atlanta, or for any actually major rapper like who had a Gucci cosign, they literally became more popular after that. It's in between Ti and Jeezy if you want to go for respective runs, but then literally with Atlanta, with how Atlanta like the new wave of how trap music sounds and how rap has
mm,
become the epicenter, you got to give Young Thug all of his credit for literally making Atlanta the epicenter of rap yet again. With all the artists that have branched off of him and developed styles like him, and to all people, and again, I do not hate Playboy Cardi, but I hate his fans with a passion. Stop saying Cardi belongs on a Mount Rushmore of anything, ever, ever. I do not want to hear it ever.
all right.
Mount Rushmore of nothing, nothing.
Can I can I cheat and do two of them for different eras? Because I
Okay,
just all right.
it's tough.
First era, um, late '90s, early 2000s. Obviously, Outkast, Jeezy, Gucci, Ti.
Okay.
Right. In terms of the newer one of 2010s to like kind of now, gotta put the Migos on there.
Yeah,
Gotta put Thug on there. Future,
sure.
Migos, Thug, Future. What else?
It's just Migos Thug and Future, honestly. Like after that, like everybody's their son. So like,
Yeah, true. Because like I was thinking like um Speedy reporter from Complex was having an interview with Migos, and
mhm.
I was like really thinking about. He asked them, "What does rap sound like without the Migos flow?" And I was thinking, like,
Now,
oh,
yeah, since 2013, nothing. Since 13, it's literally everybody does triplet flows, ad libs, everything. Like they did that.
bro, it's the like literally everybody is copying off the flow, the ad libs, and because they were just so ahead of their time. I think it was probably on accident. Like they didn't know
Yeah,
that they were bringing anything super brand new, but people just thought that more so Takeoff was a mumble rapper because our ears weren't used to hearing
Mhm.
that type of flow, and especially that baritone voice.
Mhm.
So we're just thinking, oh, he's just mumbling, you know.
Yeah,
But
well, you actually listen to Takeoff. That
if you
again,
listen,
he be going. He be spitting.
it goes off, and finally we got kind of used to that sound, and now everybody uses it, and they changed the trap landscape forever. They
Yeah.
they were part of he was just a part of culture. So you have to put him in a Mount Rushmore for Atlanta. You have to. Definitely Migos, Future.
And Young Thug.
Uh we're trying to find one more. Um but I can't.
I can't, because like that's pretty much Atlanta at its core. It's just like these two separate eras of just like Outkast. You get the Gucci, the G's, and the Ti's, and you still get trap music from that. Then you get Migos, who like just change it fully, and then we also get then you get Future and Young Thug, and Future like Future. I have always said like just makes like I saw this thing where Andre 2000 was talking about Future, and he said like Future literally makes the most like net the most like positive negative music I've ever heard. It's just like you feel his pain and his sadness, but it just sounds so good. And you look like anybody listens to Cody and Crazy or anything, like it sounds amazing, but you're just there like, damn, bro, you're really going through it. But you just vibing. And that's the thing. Like with Young Thug, his just different flows and everything he's done. Like every single person, like, and again, that's why I say you can't put Cardi on a Mount Rushmore of anything because he's literally Young Thug's son
Right,
in the
right.
nicest way possible. Like he's literally Young Thug's entire flows and vocal patterns. Like Cardi just does it in a higher pitch, and everybody thinks, "Oh wow, it's God's gift to rap." I'm like, "Bam, it's not." I don't hate Cardi's music. I don't hate him as an artist, but I hate his fan base who wants to put him on Mount Rushmores and stuff when he ain't even that much better than Uzi. That's why I'm like, yeah, I just,
Not yeah.
yeah, I think people get lost in his hype and everything. And yeah, everybody who ever listens to this podcast or shows always gonna think like, oh, you guys hate TDE and you hate Playboy Cardi. I'm like, no, I don't at all. It's just I hate how much hype they get for how underwhelming they give their artists. And
Right.
also, Isaiah Rashad dropped Headshots, and I really like that song, which makes me more optimistic for the album. But after seeing SZA's performance, like seeing
I
videos of SZA's performance, like fam, TDE,
TDE. You have to
SZA
focus on
will
one.
do numbers.
They know that. They know
It's
that.
just yeah, I hope Isaiah Rashad's album's good. I just hope that, we get good albums this summer. Drake said he's dropping his album by the end of summer. We don't know. It's probably going to be by August. Like, at this point, I don't trust Drake like that. Like, it's going to be like late July, early August. But
Yeah,
again,
in the summer. It's in the summer. You
yeah,
know.
end of summer. But honestly, I'm just, I'm really excited for what music is and is becoming in 2021 because, again, it's feeling like this benchmark year. And then in 2 weeks, No Allegra drops. And whew,
That's gonna be
listen,
tough.
listen. Everybody who knows Snow Allegra knows that you need good like feels R&B. That it's gonna hit. But yeah, I'm very excited for what music's gonna be in the end
Oh, the
towards the end of
freshman,
this year. Yeah.
the XXL freshman list. You want to talk about
Oh,
that?
XXL freshman list. It is what it is. Like they picked the most popular rap. Like it's not as big
Yeah.
of a thing as it was because like you know, people see new rappers coming up and like, yeah, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Murray because he's from North Carolina. I love Street Sermon, so like I'm excited for him. But like everybody else, like I didn't really have like a personal like thing about it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like obviously they need to be there. Like it was just like I don't know. The whole thing with Ruby Rose, I want people not wanting Ruby Rose to be on there. I'm like, no, she actually has a very interesting voice and her flow, and she can rap when she wants to. Like
Ah,
I'm not making
I,
a big deal about it, dude. What about
I'm
you
not gonna
though?
make a big deal about it because I don't really care too much. But I can't name a Ruby Rose song.
Yeah.
Like I can recognize her voice, but I can't name one. You know what I'm saying? It's just
But
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
glad. Oh wait, no, Flo Milli. I forgot Flo Milli's on there.
Yeah,
Nah, shout out to Flo Milli though.
she
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 tough.
deserves. Yeah, there's a lot of people who deserve a spot in this XXL freshman list. I
Yeah.
think so. It's not bad, but it's not. It's underwhelming. I'm gonna say it's not anything like 2016. I
But
think
like
that was
2016 was literally like everybody understands that 2016, like it was literally the SoundCloud era was fully coming into its own. And then you have arguably all the best rappers of our current generation at that current moment. Because
yeah,
21
that was
Savage, regardless of how y'all feel about 21 Savage, all like he makes very good trap music. Like just anything. Denzel Curry is one of the most underrated talents ever, and he's again insane. Lil Uzi, who I just call an alien, just because again, how do you make EXO Tour Life and then literally make all these other good songs too, and have like solid albums after that? Then who else? Lil Yachty's still steadily improving, and then
yeah.
Anderson .Paak was also on that list.
Yeah.
So
They
Anderson
had
.Paak, like one of the best new R&B artists we've had in a minute.
G Herbo. G Herbo was on there.
Turbo, what
Davies for
again? One of
Davies.
the main Chicago rappers now. Like
Yeah.
other than Dirk, it's him. Like just that list was
And
just something that people just need to look back on and be like, damn, that was crazy that we saw that.
at first, I was hating, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was hating at first, just like every
Oh,
other
same. Because like I
person.
think every single person in around 2016, you were either fully into the SoundCloud rap or you were a full Kendrick Lamar stan, and you were just like
Right.
lyrics, bars. That's all that matters. Eh, I was like that. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
front. I was
Good.
completely like that.
Then the
But
next year,
then,
I look back at that freestyle and heard 21 Savage say, I sent my bitch to the stove because we ran out of
man,
soda. I was
it's hype. It's
like,
hype. Like also Kodak too. Like, well, regardless of what Kodak's done, like all his jail stuff, like still
yeah,
I liked all of his albums before, like everything that
I
happened
do
with
like
him.
that. I do like Kodak
Everything's
better.
transpiring. But like again, still that was a good list. I think that people overhype that thing so much. Like people are now it's because we're in this microwave generation again, and just people just wanting everything to be like quick and good and easy. I'm like, no, like Moray and Flo Milli are the only artists I really care about, and Tusi too. Like that's kind of it. Everybody else is like, at this point. But I want Moray to win just because he's from North Carolina and he's a great artist, and I just loved his album. But I just am really I don't know, like you everybody now wants the nostalgic 2016 vibes for everything because of how bad 2020 was. And I think that everybody just wants to go back to like when they were younger and stuff was easier and life was just not as difficult, especially when it comes to music and the vibes that it gave us. But it's like, bro, like we're you gotta realize and appreciate the moment that we're in this. Like we're in an NBA with actual parity because and this is
Yeah,
why I want to like to also like transition to also talking about like all the players going to the Olympics and stuff like that. But like real quick, I want to touch on this: the NBA having actual parity. Like a bunch of these teams haven't. None of these teams have won since like the '60s or '70s. So
yeah,
like
before the
like
merge.
before the merger. So either way, like the last time Milwaukee Bucks won a championship, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's name was Lou Alcindor. So we got that. Then
Yeah,
we have Atlanta, who haven't been like relevant in the playoffs since around like Dominique Wilkins or maybe or those 2015 teams. Then you got that.
yeah.
Then you got the Suns haven't been relevant since around Steve Nash's era, and then the Clippers never made a conference finals.
Never really,
So
never
at
really.
this point, bro, we are just in moments of just like we're seeing amazing art and amazing players and amazing people. So just appreciate this moment. Appreciate the fact that players in our generation are coming up, like players around like our age. Because I still consider myself part of that like LeBron and Kobe era. But then like as I got older, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in this era now. But we need to appreciate that. And the one thing that I noticed about me, and this is why I'm talking about real spill, is we as Americans become a lot more patriotic only during the Olympics. Like every other time, I am complaining. I'm like, yo, America sucks. It's terrible. But seeing Simone Biles or the USA gymnastics team do their thing, getting hyped anytime Michael Phelps would ever swim, or just seeing the USA basketball team or anything that we want, I will always just be like, yo, let's go America. Yeah. It's a weird it's a weird thing though. Because it's just like seeing black people at the ultimate heights is what just gets me excited. Like that's why I enjoy the Olympics. That's why I think that's how I feel about it. Except
Um,
Michael Phelps. Though. Michael Phelps is still solid though, because as a swimmer, that again, that dude was
right.
crazy.
Yeah, it was the same for me too. anytime the Olympics came up, for some reason I was just super patriotic, super US. I hate
USA,
that.
USA.
Yeah,
Now you just
yeah.
cringe, but where it's gonna come though.
Yeah, but as soon as I watch the Olympics and I see, black man with the USA on the track shirt or uniform, whatever, I'm bucked up for him to win, bucked up for her to win, and especially because I think there's a dude from NCAT that qualified for the Olympic team. So
Nice.
HBCU vibes, you
Yeah,
dig?
yeah.
So I'm happy for that. My boy
She'Carri,
Howard.
we gotta talk about She'Carri though,
Oh, bro,
bro.
Shorty, wait.
That point was the since Dame's waved goodbye. That's one of my favorite sports moments ever. That point as she's running, just like, look at me, I'm here. I was just there like, oh, that was cold. Oh, that was cold. That entire time, it's like that Deion Sanders high step when he has a pick six. It's like that level of like, oh, that's iconic. That right there. And I pray that she does well at whatever she does, because oh my god, full lace eyelashes, nails, and
Yeah,
everything, just
everything.
bodied. And her acceleration, dude, I
Oh,
ain't
she
never
took off.
seen nothing like that before, bro. Like she was just, I was like, oh, she taking it easy. It's like that scene in The Incredibles when they're like trying to like have Dash like not run that fast, but then like he actually just speeds up. Like that's what that looked like. Like I
Like,
was
wait,
just like,
okay, go, go,
go,
go.
go, go, go. I was like, wait.
That was crazy.
She
That
looked
was
like she
crazy.
was singing herself. I was like, you know what? Screw this. Boom. I was like, wait, that is not
Right.
okay. That
Yeah, that was crazy. It was like the first 5, 10 meters. I was like, okay, it's a close run. And all of a sudden, she took that second gear, gone.
boom. I was like,
Yo, wait,
what
hold on.
happened?
Hold
What
on, take
happened?
off.
Okay, just but that was lit though. And again, I'm just happy seeing like any athlete break barriers. And what I love about her is she's cocky. Like I want all of us, and especially in our generation and Gen Z especially, bro, we've been through too much in our entire lives too, especially when it comes to microaggressions and racism and a bunch of stuff. We gotta be cocky and brag on ourselves. Like give homage to all the people who've come before us, give respect to them, but also be like, yo, like I'm willing to take the crown and be the best person that I can be because that's who I am. Like that's what I see with all these young players in the NBA playoffs. Like they are literally like, yo, we're walking into your crib. Much love to you guys though. We're walking into your crib, taking no prisoners, and we're killing this because we're here. And that's something that I want our generation to like look up to and aspire to be because we're going to be the boundary shifters. We're going to break barriers. That's what we are. That's what we've always done. I think this generation's the best equipped to do it. So I just don't want us to be on this humble tip anymore of just being like, oh no, like play into the respectability of politics. The literally she has orange hair because she feels like because she literally runs like she's on fire. Like that is hard. I don't care what y'all say. That shit is hard. Like we need to stop this. Like, let's be humble. Let's just be meek, just to like make white people feel safe. No, bro. They literally make us feel uncomfortable at all times. And if our cockiness and our greatness makes them uncomfortable, let them be uncomfortable. Fuck it. That's all you gotta do. Like I like. That's why I love like when I see like my favorite wide receiver is DeAndre Hopkins because literally he says I'm him most of the time. Like his entire personality is the fact that he knows I'm him. Kendrick Lamar is probably my favorite rapper ever because in an interview he said, "Yo, if why am I doing anything if I don't think I'm the greatest at it? Like I'm not gonna say right now I'm the greatest sports broadcaster ever, but I want to be that. Like that's my dream. I want to be like give kids an avenue to be like, yo, you can talk about sports, you can be smart, you can study, you can do all this different stuff and just know stuff and just be wise in it and get paid for it. Like you don't have to do all this other stuff. But you gotta have this cockiness about yourself. Like you gotta be able to brag on yourself. Everybody wants to be like, nah, like you gotta like stay in your place. I'm like, nah, screw staying in your place. Be the best you can be. That's all like when you're the best you can be, you're gonna be cocky because you know who you are. And that's just real smell to me. And that's what I love about all the NBA players, all these young athletes who are taking over the sports world. It's just amazing to see.
100%. When you're cocky, you know your worth. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
But anyway, like this has been another episode of Spinning Game. We're probably gonna talk about like, we're gonna preview game one with Hawks Bucks, and then we're gonna talk about the results of the Suns Clippers game. But either way, it's been a good episode. So I'm Chris.
I'm Drew.
All right, peace.
Peace.